Hi, I'm Dominic. Thanks for watching Dominic's Woodworks. And today, there's nothing left between me and the Wheel of Fire. And just in case you didn't recognize the quote, it is from The Lord of the Rings, and today's project will be a special kind of tealight holder. I lost the footage for the first part of this, so here's a mock-up for your viewing pleasure. The whole project started with a jig to make wedges. I attached two slats at a right angle, using pocket screws, and screwed them to the miter gauge of my bandsaw. I had to cut a notch in one of them to make sure the miter gauge would fit, and yes, I took care not to hit the pocket screw. I then cut a notch into the slat that rides along the blade at an angle. I started with 1 degree, which turned out to be too small and fidgety, so I recut it to 3 degrees, which worked out fine. I cut several thin slices of walnut, pear and cherry, most of them from scrap pieces themselves. And here's how it works. The glue up has also been lost. I found a piece of scrap plywood, which was already circle shaped with a hole in the middle. Perfect for this. I started at an arbitrary point and applied glue to the ply ring to cover a small part of the circle, and I also applied glue to the edges of a matching amount of wedges. Then I placed the first one, butted the second one up against it, and so on. To clamp it down I used spring clamps on top and to the sides to keep them together. Finally, the narrative has caught up with the video. To remove the glue residue and to add some very slight texture, I used a metal brush in my drill press. I also went over the edges to eliminate any sharp corners. For what I would, at this point, call the frame, I used the ring to trace a slightly oversized circle onto a piece of particle board and add another curve to turn it into kind of a horn shape. I cut it out on the bandsaw and traced the shape onto another piece to cut a second one. I shaped both by adding large asymmetrical chamfers both inside and out, using rasps and files. The idea is to make the piece look edged and sharp and a bit organic too. And here we are. Really nice, aren't they? I thought about attaching them using pocket holes, but not as wooden as I thought. But somehow I'm not quite satisfied with the result, so let's work on it a little more, shall we? Once I'm finished with the shaping, I screw them both to a base plate. To hold the actual tealights, I take 3 pieces of particle board and use the appropriately sized Forstner bit to make through holes. I always love the change of grain visible through the Forstner bit, and particle board has its unique kind of effect to offer. Camera does not do it justice. Moving on, I glue 2 tealight holders behind the horns onto the base plate. The third one I glue to a piece of particle board of matching shape. The hitherto unnamed round thing then receives the hot air wax treatment. It is not ideal, but it gets the job done and enhances the colors nicely. The floating tealight holder gets attached to the plywood ring with pocket screws so that the tealight can shine through the hole. Interlude. An experiment. With every candle there's a danger of fire, however remote. On that note, I did a little experiment. 2 wedges, one coated or soaked with beeswax, the other one left unfinished. Both are held above the flame of a tealight, far closer than any wood would be in the actual design. The waxed one blackens and burns quicker and keeps burning without the tealight longer than the other one. What does that tell us? Nothing, except that wood burns and waxed wood burns better. The way this tealight holder is designed, the way any tealight holder should be designed, the wood is too far from the frame to actually catch fire. Then the whole thing gets a coat of primer in the dark. Why? Because I had a can left over that I wanted to empty, and it was late. Same goes for the wood fella. Strange blue stuff and old to boot. For some of the cracks due to not linear cutting of straight lines at the bandsaw. Next up is the brushing of black paint on the whole thing, except for a few spots on the back. One of the downsides of a workflow based on improvisation is that you sometimes have to improvise. To attach the round piece I am using a piece of reclaimed dowel. For that, not only do I have to drill into the pocket screw tealight holder in an awkward position, taking it off would be really bad for some unknown reason, But I also need to make an extension for the base, which leads to the addition of 2 feet on the sides. After dry fitting it, can you guess what it is supposed to be already? I glue the base in place and use a paper towel to apply black paint. Not wanting to soil another brush can be a strong motivator. On my quest to empty spray cans, I also apply a liberal coat of Diamond Effect spray lacquer to give the black parts an otherworldly, stony texture. Actually, I found I had this effect lacquer in gold and silver. Then I glue both the dowel and Sauron in place with some convincing impact. Almost not enough room for me to show you this, but I kinda like how it turned out with the eye. Although I think it's a little hard to recognize what it's supposed to be. At least it has been in some field testing. But still, I like the look, especially the glittering on these black pieces. They give it something, well, not actually supernatural, but it's a nice contrast with the natural wood and the wax. I think LED strips would have made for better mood lighting, but these Tealights do a nice job at that. I hope you see what I mean. And if you look at it from the right angle, you can see and if the camera manages to keep it sharp, you can see the light in the center of the eye. But I think you like this in a dark room, maybe with some more candles for the glittering to take effect. It's a nice piece. Thanks for watching. Share this video with your friends and every orc that you know of. I would appreciate if you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any new videos. And remember to be inspired.